Hello, and welcome to another episode of The End of the Search. This one I call it, Is Meditation Unnatural? Well, it depends how you see meditation. Within the context of these videos, meditation would not be a practice per se in order to control anything, because when we try to control anything, in this case would be the thoughts or the mind or whatever, that requires effort. However, what you are does not require any effort. Therefore, that which not require any effort is natural. And that which requires effort is considered unnatural. So, right now, do you need to do anything in order to be? Right now. Do you need to do anything in order to be? And the answer is obvious. No. I am being. So then, thoughts appear, and because we believe the thoughts, then we try to engage in any kind of practice that hopefully allows us to either let go of the thoughts or try to control the thoughts, and that requires effort. You see? But here we are not suggesting to let go of the thoughts nor control the thoughts. The suggestion here is to observe them without believing them. In that sense, you could say that this is what I mean by meditation. In other words, meditation is not something I do in order to control anything. Meditation is just simply being conscious that whenever I am identified with any thoughts, remember that nothing means anything, just being. You see? And in that sense, I live in a constant state of meditation. So it all depends how do you use the word meditation. Now, for someone who's beginning in this journey, someone who's very identified with the content of the mind, remember, we are all identified with the content of the mind the moment we bought the thought I individual. The moment we believe that, then our whole life is about developing this sense of identity. And because there's strong identification with it, then of course the mind seems to be overwhelming, we seem to be engaged with all the thoughts and everything. So someone who's beginning on this journey, a formal practice of meditation, I think it's wonderful, beautiful. Whether you light up a candle, listen to a tape or something, that is fantastic, because at least you give them a chance to sort of like ease up a little bit. Doesn't mean they're going to control the thoughts, because the thoughts cannot be controlled, they just appear. But as they begin to ease up a little, then they may be ready to now realizing that what we're talking about here is not about how to learn any particular practice or technique. It's about knowing who we are. What you are is not this individual who has to do anything. What you are is pure beingness. And thoughts are just like clouds that appear. But if you don't pay attention to them, if you don't believe them, then they just disappear. You see? So there's nothing I need to do in order to be. That's why I don't have any particular, practice or technique, because in reality what there is to do right now, life is. You just simply observe how thoughts appear, and there's a tendency to identify with some and not with others. Well, when this identification happens, in that moment, the fact that I am, to me, that is meditation. See? So, the reason why this seems to be so difficult to put into practice is because, again, there's a strong identification with the sense of identity. And now there's a fear that if I let go of my psychological structure, God knows what's going to happen to me, But in reality, what's going to happen is that you will rest in the peace that you've been searching your whole life through pursuing all these things. That's all. believing the content of the mind leads us to an endless pursuit of things to try to be happy, the pursuit of happiness, so to speak, and we're overshadowing the fact that happiness is what we are. It reminds me a story of a man who was climbing, and because of some things that happened, he started getting late, and he thought he was going to make it to the top of the mountain at a certain time, but he didn't. And now it gets really dark, and he's hanging on to the rope, and he doesn't know what to do because he cannot see. So he doesn't know where's the next move he has to make. And in that moment, he enters in panic and asks for help. And there's an intuitive something within, he says, let go of the rope. You see? And the man was afraid of letting go of the rope because he had a belief of what could happen if he let go of the rope. But what happened then is that the temperatures became freezing temperatures, and he frozen hanging onto the rope, and he died. See, he was afraid of dying. He ended up dying anyway, because if he listened to that voice, he would have fallen thousands of feet, on the ground. So he's going to die. So he hung on to it. Well, the next morning, some hikers were walking by, and they saw the man hanging from the rope, frozen, and he was only 5 centimeters from the ground. You see, because there was a step, there was a part of the hike that he didn't see. He didn't realize that he was there. You see, and he was only 5 centimeters from the ground. Letting go of the rope would have been that he would just not even fall. He just kind of step into the ground. Well, because we believe that we're this individual, because a thought tells us so, and consequently we believe in all the thoughts about who we are, what we have, what's important, everything you can possibly imagine, you see, then the mind keep conjuring up more thoughts, and then the worry about losing this, and the pursuit of that, and the fear of this, and all that stuff. When it becomes so overwhelming, we try to engage in some kind of a practice in order to somehow quiet the mind, trying to control the thoughts, you see? And that is another distraction to the fact that we are. But if I was not afraid of letting go of all of this, because now peace of mind is the most important thing, because when peace is the most important thing, then it's easier to begin to let go, because anything that does not allow me to experience that peace, I let it go. You see? Because there's no identification with the sense of identity. So if I'm not afraid of letting go because I'm not fearful of letting go of my sense of identity, if I am not attaching myself to anything, then I recognize in that moment that I am free. And you see, you are free. These videos are a reminder of that. You are free. You believe you're not free because you're identified with a thought that says, I'm this individual, and on top of that, there's an identification with all the thoughts about the things that I think I want, don't want, the things that are important, the things I value, the things I'm afraid of. But these are thoughts. All of these are thoughts. If you don't identify with any thoughts right now, I didn't say that the thoughts will not be there. They will be there. I'm simply saying don't believe any of them, just observe them. Okay, right now. Just notice the obvious. You see? What's your experience right now? Or what is the experience, not even your experience? What's the experience right now? Don't try to answer me, because if you do, you're going back into mind, you're going back into thoughts. I'm just pointing to what is. Do you need to do anything in order to be? Do you need any formal practice in order for you to be? What step do you need to take in order to get to where you're at? See? Well, this is what these videos are pointing to. And this is effortless. Requires no effort. You see? So if meditation to you implies sitting and trying to control the mind, well, that's why I mean that meditation is not natural. But if meditation to you is simply recognizing that you are, then of course that's fine. So it depends what meaning you want to give to that word. But how about if we just get rid of the word altogether and simply be? You see? That's it. This is it. You are. You can never not be. And no thought can affect the fact that you are. When this is really, really seen, integrated, you live in a permanent, I don't want to call it state because it's not a state, but I don't know what word to use, so we'll use the word state. You live in a permanent state of peace. You live in a permanent state of happiness. Because peace and happiness are the same thing. Only when the thought gets in the way that we believe in, the thought is not a problem, believing in it is. And the belief in the thought, once again, is because if we believe that we are this individual, then every thought that could be a threat to this individual is going to be believed in the same way that every thought that seems to bring pleasure to the individual is also going to be believed in. What happens is when the thoughts that we don't like come up, that's when we want to do all sorts of techniques and practices to be calm or to be free and happy, whatever. But then when the thoughts that we like shows up, we just kind of keep feeding the sense of identity. There's nothing wrong with the thoughts that we can enjoy. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that don't make anything special with any or the other. Just seeing as it is. The experiences that seems to happen in your life that can be enjoyed, enjoy them fully, not a problem with that. But just don't believe any thoughts that try to make those experiences special. Just see them as just as that. So when you look at life like that, then when the opposite shows up, there's no suffering. It won't affect your beingness, your well-being, which is what you are. We're pointing about the fact that you are. Resting in beingness, resting in the well-beingness that you are, requires no effort. And in that sense, it could be said that you are living in a permanent state of meditation. Okay, this is what I was inspired through this instrument. I hope it served. And as always, may peace permeate the mind so that love can be extended.